Good afternoon, folks. I'm the voice of Dog. Welcome back to Pentiment. It is Act 3. We have had 2 acts of, I don't want to admit it, but more or less complete failure in trying to solve a mystery. A recurring mystery. Although, there is really not much connecting the first and second cases together. There is clearly something going on in this town that somebody is manipulating, and we have not figured out who. Now, 18 or so years later, we discuss how to represent the history of the revolt in a mural. Playing as... I want to say Marguerite? Who's our character right now? We're playing as Klaus's daughter, who is the printer. The pagan tribes and the Romans. Magdalene? I think it's Magdalene, yeah. Klaus lost his wife and his son, I think. He had 2 kids, right? I remember I'm pretty sure he had 2 kids, and one of them died, and the other is Magdalene here. And then we need to figure out a way to represent our recent history. We volunteered to paint the mural, and people are in disagreement on how it's supposed to be representing the history of Tassing. Oh, you just caught up? Nice. Yeah, a week ago we did this, and we... Write to Mother Illuminata. Okay. I bet the town has changed. We haven't really seen a lot of it yet in Act 3. Alright, where to begin? Dad told me about the last prioress at Kearsaw knew something about the old history of Tassing. Yeah, that would be Illuminata. He said she became the abbess of a convent in Bologna. One of the largest cities in Italy. Yeah, there's Illuminata. She must be pretty old now. This is like 16 years after the revolt. Santa Margherita. Mother Illuminata, abbess of Santa Margherita, formerly prioress of Kearsaw Abbey. My name is Magdalene Druckerin. I do not believe we ever met. I was very young when you left Kearsaw. You were acquainted with my father. He bought many books from the library before that terrible fire consumed the place. I am writing because my father and I are creating a mural in the Tassing Rat House. It's going to tell the history of our community and of Kearsaw as well. We have only legends and folklore, since of course all of Kearsaw's books were destroyed in the fire. I was hoping you could tell us something about the early history of the town when the Romans were here. If you know anything about the early history of the Abbey itself, we would also be glad to hear of it. We would appreciate any help you could give us, and we hope you are well. My father always spoke highly of you, especially after you cared for the sisters after the fire. God bless you. Magdalene. The clock is ticking. The tyranny of the clock has begun. I really like that the calendar has updated. We are no longer on the monk calendar. I want to finish the mural before Christmas. I should start planning tomorrow. Wow, really? That took up the whole day? Man, I had gotten used to the... Yeah, I had gotten used to the previous calendar. Now I'm... Where's Dad? Is he in bed? How you feeling? Alright, we can't leave the house right now. I didn't check to see if I could leave the house before I wrote the letter, so... But it just seems like that would be a good place to start. Wait a minute. That painting, that was the family 18 years ago. 20 years ago? Jeez. Sleep. Wait, what? Are we... Okay, are we fast-forwarding to when we get the letter? Mother Illuminata wrote back to me. Thank you for your letter. I hope this reply finds you and your father in good health. Well, not really. I remember you both as your father would carry you between the rows of our library in its final years. I also remember your late mother and brother, God keep their souls. While we did some books to discuss Tassing's past, it's likely that they were mythological as what your neighbors believe. That said, I remember one of the peasants, Tillman Kreutzer, read about the history of the town. I know he died during the revolt, but perhaps his family knows some of what he learned. I should say it's not true that all of Kearsaw's books were destroyed by the fire. Andreas Mahler managed to save some from the flames. Yeah, he did. He dropped them right in the entryway before he went to go save more. I am not sure. They're saying he's dead, but I don't know for sure. In the aftermath of that terrible night, cataloging and preserving the surviving books was not at the top of any of our minds. Even so, this topic has stirred a memory within me. Several years before the fire, there was a death at Kearsaw, the murder of Baron Rothvogel. Here we go. He had mentioned something about finding a copy of Historia Tassiae, a comprehensive chronicle of your home. I had forgotten about it until now because the murder dominated all of our thoughts in the days and weeks that followed. It troubles me now because I also recall that late Father Matthias was also reading a copy of Historia Tassiae shortly before he died. Is that the link? Is this book the cause of everything? We never accounted for either book's whereabouts. They may have been hidden somewhere in the library and went up with everything else. Perhaps Friar Fenric took it from the Baron after the murder. Fenric had an interest of books and all sorts, of course, but it seems like an odd thing to do in the moment. Then again, only God knows what he did and why he did it. Excuse me. Miklos Haberelli, the Baron's manservant, believed it may have been stolen by the town thief, Martin Bauer. If Martin is still alive, I would ask him if he knows where the book is. Hopefully he didn't trade it for a mug of beer on his way out of Tassing. If the man has passed from this world, perhaps his family knows where the book went out. As for the history of the Abbey, I fear that it was also lost. I fear that was also lost in the blaze. However, as sacristan, the person who watches over the sacristy, Prior Matthew learned a great deal about the subject. I have not kept in contact with him, but I know that he is now the Archdeacon of Sion. Okay. He is no longer a Benedictine, but uses his family name. Fausigny Saul. If you write to him soon, your letter may reach him before snow covers Valais. Please convey my best wishes to your father. He was a good friend to the Abbey in its better years. Despite the violence that occurred, I hold no ill will towards anyone from Tassing. God forgives the many errors we made. Okay, well, it was some leads. Esther wrote to me as well. Who's Esther? Oh, the Jewish lady. I pray it goes well with you. Prague has been blessedly warm of late. We are still residing outside of the city, but we found a place to stay nearby. Father thinks the king's expulsion order will be lifted eventually. Of Jews? He says Jews are too important to printing here for the king to push us out forever. Speaking of printing, your ink was well received indeed. I've made several prints with it. They look lovely on the wall. Elisha has taken to making his own ink from scraps around the house after he saw yours. Mother was furious when he spent several pfennigs trying to find lapis at the market. That stuff was pretty precious, is my understanding. She set him scrubbing the floors for it. It took him 3 days. I'm glad you're keeping busy, even though it keeps you from visiting. Father says we'll have room whenever you decide to make an appearance. Though really, if you don't plan to stay in Tassing, you ought to come sooner rather than later. There are plenty of beautiful young Christian men around town, printers and academics alike. Or maybe something else. You'd have your pick. Before the expulsion, there was a handsome man at synagogue, Simond, who caught my eye. His father is a merchant, and he's a doctor. He went to the University of Padua. Can you believe it? Quite like to marry him if I can find him again. Anyway, I think you'd have better luck than me. The boys would swoon in the beautiful blonde artist from the Alps. Please keep us abreast of your father's mural. We'll have to come see it when it is finished. Blessings. Yes, sir. Sitting upright is still a struggle. Black Till? His grandfather told many stories. Illuminata said he used to read about the Romans. Oh, yeah, okay. Young Kreutzer has mentioned those tales from time to time. Yes, he comes by to borrow books now and then. Usually when he's found some interesting old ruin out in the fields. You might ask him about that. Il Peter's always harumphed about how no one paid attention to the old ways anymore, too. I'm sure he'll have some stories to tell about old Tassing. You might stop to talk to him. You might talk to Smokey, too. Okay, is he still around? Seems to know more about what's in the woods around town than anyone else. He was absent. Around the time of the second murder. I couldn't find him in the second chapter at all. The twins mess around near the salt mine, but I don't want you getting hurt. I don't know why Jorg doesn't keep them in line. Always making trouble, those two. At least Artemis actually knows how to read. I don't think Apollo could even spell his name. Is that their names? That's what happens when you name your kids after pagan gods instead of saints, I guess. The boy struggles with his letters, Magdalene. Don't shame him for it. Not everyone is a printer's daughter. That's not what I meant, but... Don't forget your other chores while you're running around town, alright? We still have a household to run. Well... Time to start researching. Kreutzer House. Got Smokey. Got the Gertner Farm. The Abbey has been burnt. Alright, Martin. I know your secret, but I don't think I'm gonna get it out of you with the information I've got. How's your dad? On his deathbed. Dad would want me to keep up the printing press. I promise you I do not. Oz doesn't know what he wants. Some days I'm amazed he can button his own pants. Are you trying to set me up with your son? I'll decide on my own time. Not every marriage may start off on solid footing. If you pray and work. Yeah, sure, if your guy just completely turns into a different fucking person. Like, you're not one to talk, Brigitte. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll never get married. Without a husband and children, who will care for you when you're old? The Lord made us from Adam's rib because he meant us to be a part of men. You would be lonely to never know that fullness of purpose. That's no life for someone like you. You're not the first person to tell me. It's because your elders are wise. Yeah, thanks. Know when you've overstepped your bounds, lady. I had a question about an old book. Martin is supposed to have stolen it from that baron who was killed years ago. Do you know what happened to it? Oh. You have it? Martin left it behind when he ran off. He didn't bring it along? Martin was a thief, but he wasn't stupid. I'm sure he realized no one would believe he'd come by the book honestly, so he couldn't sell it. Why'd you keep it? What was I supposed to do? The Baron was killed soon after, and there I was holding his stolen book. I didn't want Martin to get in any more trouble than he was already in. I never read it, though. I don't read well. Can I have it? I don't know. Give it to me! I need to read it to my dad. Doesn't seem like the kind of story Klaus would like. Oh, alright. I'd like to have nothing more to do with it. To be frank, it reminds me of difficult times. Perhaps it spoiled our milk and turned our eggs all these years. Is that what you're blaming it on? Please don't tell anyone I had this. Historia Tassier. God, is this the fucking source of everything? It could be. It could at least be... Oh, we don't read Latin that well. Shit. Wasn't that other book we bought for her in Act 2 in Latin? Martin. Townsfolk has whispered shit about me for years. So what if I occasionally get into a few brawls? I'm an honest man. I wasn't involved with what happened to Otto Zimmerman. I supported his cause. Yeah, I don't know about that. Oh, I'm sorry. Who was the person I chose for Act 2? Well, I didn't have a choice, so I had to go for Hannah. The innkeeper's wife. Done enough backbreaking work for this family. Can't a man just have goddamn rest? Why are you always getting into fights? Sometimes an asshole just needs to get his teeth pounded in. I mean, yeah, but does beating the shit out of someone really solve a problem? Maybe. Don't want to solve problems, though. Don't have the patience anymore. Had enough. Just want what I'm owed. Is this just a dead end? I guess this is just a dead end, yeah. Wasn't this Attilia's house? It's just empty now? Oh, Hetty's still here. Who's this? They didn't have a chance against me once I'd set my mind to it. What? He regrets it, you know. I'm sure he does. Which one was Joseph? I don't remember a Joseph. He wasn't an important character in my playthrough. That's what it takes. But we know what happened 18 years ago. I can understand why the town council is careful. I'm not smart like you. Dr. Stoltz thinks I should prepare. I don't think Klaus is going to live, honestly. He's probably not going to survive. Good things don't happen in this game. How about the Gertners? How are they doing? Oh my god, how are you still alive? Eh? What? I was wondering if you could tell me some of the stories about Tassing. Oh, the old tales. It's been so damn long since anyone had a thought to ask me about what I know. Are there any myths from even before the Romans came to Tassing? Of course there are. The Romans weren't the first ones to live here. There are spirits older than the saints that live in these woods, older than the Romans. They protected Tassing before Saint Mortiz ever set a blessed foot in town. What sort of spirits? The sort that I'm getting at. Didn't your father teach you patience? It's Perchta and her wild hunt that scare them evil ones away. They protected Tassing since its founding day. Long before the Romans, our ancestors roamed these mountains under a great chieftain called Rhaetus. Now, folk weren't as kind as they are now, and the tribes fought one another for the best land. The old chieftain with a yellow-bellied coward neglected the old gods. He was too proud to make offerings. Because of him, the gods favored other tribes, and Rhaetus' people had no land. Instead, they wandered through these mountains and valleys, hunting and gathering what they could to survive. When winter was approaching, Rhaetus went hunting and found a wounded wolf tangled in a trap. And instead of killing the beast as most men would, he helped the beast and loosed it from its bonds. Of course not. Wolves are wolves. Spirits don't eat the skins of animals for their power. Still, you get the sense of the thing. The old gods are keen to repay favors done, and Perchta is the goddess of the wild hunt. The wolves are her animals. She leads the wild hunt, and the wolves lead the hunt to the forest. Back in my day, folk knew it was bad luck to kill a wolf. Now I'm the only one who remembers these things. This again? This story again. This is the third time. Or is it the second time we've heard it and we're just hearing the second telling of it again? Because St. Mortiz has the same story. Then the Romans came, and yeah. Perfect for the first part of the mural. What about the Romans? Do you know any Roman legends? Pah. I'm gonna bother with stories from outsiders. Romans did nothing but conquer our people and destroy this town. These stories need to be on the mural. The mural? Fine, but I don't know any of the old Roman shit. Jorg. Jorg continues to live. Excuse me? The door hinges at home. Are they in good working order? Right, right. That's a new guy. Maybe Andrew should take a look at them. I would have asked your father, but well... Anyway, you wouldn't believe how many people in this town leave their hinges to rust. Jorg, if you want an excuse to snoop in people's homes, just invite yourself over for supper. That's not... The council is looking after the town. Paul would like to institute a yearly check of all homes in Tassing. What do you think? Well, it's not a bad thing, but I don't see why we need to make it official. Everyone in Tassing helps each other. As I see it, if someone notices a house in disrepair, we all pitch in to fix it. To do anything else would be unchristian. But if Paul wants to see it, I'm happy to go along with it. It makes me feel useful. I better get back to work. There's Veronica. There's Clara. It's hard to know for certain. No husband to care for anymore. How? Who was her husband? Oh, Peter. Oh, okay. Yeah, Peter's dead. Peter's extremely dead. Big Jorg is still in the house, though, isn't he? Oh, yes, but he's a grown man with children of his own. He and Veronica are capable for carrying their own household now. Ava is taking care of Otz, Ursula, and Fabian have their own life together. You don't need me anymore. You sound sad. I suppose I am. Thank God that my children are all grown and prospering, but I do feel there's something missing in my life. I don't know what else to do. Could help Gret in the bakery. Jorg has been telling me to rest more, but you're right. I'd rather keep busy as long as there's life left in these old bones. Is that a concern? The council likes to meddle in things that they ought to leave alone. Who gives a damn if the hinges on our front door creaks? To be fair. Oh my god, what the hell? Hang on. If there's a creaky hinge, I'll hear it. Anyway, I think it's good of you to be working on the mural. I wish Artemis and Apollo would take interest in something like that. Have you seen them around? No. I asked them to look after the chickens, but they disappeared. Father Thomas says they're only so much trouble because I named them after Greek gods. Yeah, well, Father Thomas is a fucking idiot. He says those names have power, but I still like them. Names have only as much power as we allow them to have. Can every Greek name really invoke pagan gods? Father Thomas spends too much time in his books. Oh, Andrus is the blacksmith guy. Matilda and... Oh! Hi! Our vocation may have changed, but our gratitude to God and the town have not. It's hard to imagine you two ever lived in the Abbey. Those days feel like another lifetime. A harder time. Life feels pretty hard now. What about your old life was difficult for you? Alright, I'm not going to needle her on that. We were found out, but our secret was kept. The Abbey's destruction gave us a second chance. Can't imagine that the townsfolk were too happy to let you stay. Ah, well. We've had enough tragedy in this town. It's all Dad and I have. Who's running the bakery, then? Is it just Kret? Andreas. You have... grandchildren. Paul. And... oh. Wish he could see his grandchildren. Yeah, Ulrich's fucking dead. I always did think it strange that your daughter married the son of the man who killed your husband. That's a thing I would say. Okay. Oh. Not having that... well... she's been asking me for recommendations for the ladies' reading circle. Agnes. Is Lucky still around? No, Lucky is not around. Alright. Northtown. That goes to the rat house, right? Oh, well, look at that place. Let's see what's up with the doctor. He didn't seem unreliable in the previous chapters, so what happened? Huh. Eisenkopf. These guys are new. Baltus's workshop. Yes? The cinnamon just arrived for the beer. You're making beer? Wait. Oh, I thought it was for something more serious. Making beer is quite serious. Anyway, it's for the Christmas celebration. We're barely into November. The wheel of time stops for no man, but it's going to be wonderful. Cinnamon coffee from Ethiopia, cacao from the New World. Wow. Jesu Tristu. Jesus Christ, he who has the money can do everything. Problem? Of course not, it's your money. Alchemy is not normally my strong suit. Farmers had so much rye this year, they just couldn't use it all. Brett made as much bread with it as she could, but she wound up having to throw a lot out. So why not make beer? I wish you the best luck with it. There's a spot for the mural. Can I not run anymore? Notice that mag doesn't run. Oh. Yeah, you won't be able to do the Eucharist if you can't open the tabernacle. I'm sure I could find a way to get the tabernacle open. The lock shouldn't be that complex. Absolutely not. I don't like the prospect of it. And why on earth do you know how to pick locks? All women do. It's just a matter of being a good wife. We have to manage our family's finances. Hardly amusing. You know, Thomas, you become a real ass. I won't leave Tazing's sanctification at risk. Oh my god, are you still here? Have you seen Father Thomas's tabernacle key anywhere? Everything in the church has been as it should be. I did hear the two Gertner children come in last evening. I did not rise, but I heard their whispering for a moment. Ah. Why tell me this now? I know those two do. And because you said that Father Thomas had lost his keys. I might go have a chat with them. Any luck? I'm sure it'll turn up eventually. Let's talk to them first before we go tell him anything. Let's go check out the mill. I'll start with the intonacchio and then paint the fresco over it so I have a clear consistency. Since when did the town millers know so much about art? It's been an interest of mine. After my mother and I left Tassing, we stayed with her family for a few months before we heard what happened. Your father's friend, Andreas, he encouraged me to draw. I studied in my uncle's library. I've collected books about various art styles since we returned. Why didn't you want to paint it yourself? You were there more than I was, so why not you? Council working on something new? Oh my god, these yearly maintenance checks again. Okay, fine. That idea had more than a little bit of pushback. Okay, this just seems mean. It might feel like a nuisance. This would help protect those in Tassing who don't have the skill to fix things themselves. Widows like Agnes or Gret. Andreas. Hello, Andreas. Magdalene. Drawing. Anything interesting? No. Secrets. There's else. There's the hat. Magdalene. Watching. I will work now. Kids in this game are really good. Hi, else. Is the trauma gone now? I know nothing of those times. I used to sometimes borrow books from your dad, but what's the point? Of reading? Of anything. Okay, this is not... Oh. That's an awful thing to say. I will speak my mind now, as he did not do before when it mattered the most. Leave me be. Oh. The trauma has not faded. Wait. Can I not go to the ruin? The ruins. The ruins? Wasn't this the way to go to the ruins? Let's go see how the Abbey looks before we go into the woods. I would presume this has fallen into disrepair. Whoa, Velwraith. Thank you for gifting all those subs. Thank you so much. Gifting 10 gift subs to the community. Congratulations to the winners. Oh good, Pad Thai all day got one. Congratulations to Chaz, to Lord Idiot, to Loon, Spider-Man, Faces McGee, 8 Escape, to Shift, LaRose, Jag. Congratulations. Everyone gets a sub. Who is Martha? She looks young. She might be new in town. So the convent is still going. The shrine is open. Yeah, that place is not open. Smite has two different... I like that Smite has two different emotes for getting hit by a by a dodgeball. Oh. I ran out of disk space. Why does this keep happening to me? Alright, well, let's just delete a lot of things real quick. Hang on. There's 80 gigs of recordings gone. They're all uploaded by at this point. Let's take a quick break so I can grab another drink, and we'll be right back. All right. Thank you for waiting, folks. As always, thank you for watching today. If you're not already following me, the Voice of Dog, feel free to do that because it helps me out, and I appreciate it. All right. So if you're just joining us, we are in Act 3. We are running around the town, kind of just trying to get my bearings and start our research on the mural. And basically, I'm just trying to get the sit rep of you know, the town 16, 18 years later and figure out who's still alive, who's not alive, who's left town, who's still in town, who's new. Here's Martha. This is a new character. She has a different nose than literally everybody in town. Why do you ask? Maybe. Oh, that's a nice idea. You think so? Wait, no. I don't know. Oh, man, did I just encourage her to join the convent? I don't know if I should have done that. Be honest, what do I have to look forward to? With Dad's injury and me unwed at 25, older than all the boys in town. Oh, jeez. God. 25. I'm 25 and my life is over. And when Dad dies, not anytime soon, God willing, I won't be able to claim the farm. I'll lose my home. With Anton gone, there's nobody to take it over. You should be able to inherit the property. The law of man seems cruel compared to the law of God. I'm destined to poverty. Why not live with those who do the same? Why not withdraw from the trials of the world? You know as well it's not safe out here. The Abbey's walls didn't protect it during the revolt. Sooner or later, the world comes knocking, with swords. I don't like to think about things like that. I have enough worries to keep me sleeping as it is. But joining the Poor Clares is a lifelong commitment. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't think you should join the Order. You can't just throw your life away over one bad day. Ah, shit. Paul wrote that there is no greater reward than living for Christ. I want to live a life with meaning, and I've always admired the sister's dedication. If I join the Order, Dad won't have to worry about what happens to me. I'll pray about it, but I think it's time I talk to Mother Francisca and the others. Be sensible? No, we're past sensible. Oh, Gertrude's still here. Father Thomas told us about your father's attack. I hear a kitty. Dr. Stoltz is worrying about a brain hemorrhage. I might have some psyllium left in the herb hut. Psyllium? That's not what that's for. It will heat his brain. Isn't psyllium just full of fiber? Isn't it really good for, like, you know, just getting rid of everything in your colon? I'll do my best. Okay, I need to go see the cats. Aww. Pet son of Mousefanger, yeah. Mousefanger is going to be long dead at this point because 18 years is way too long for a cat to live. Hey, Scanny. It's good animation. Oh, that's Margaret. Why didn't you leave when the Benedictines left Kearsaw? I was too frightened to leave. Learning the convent's ins and outs was hard enough. Sister Gertrude already planned to stay too. The garden always needs tending. Can't leave Mousefanger behind. That's true. Of course. Food is simpler and some of the prayers are different, but all the chores and gardening is the same. This is a new character. Do you have a moment? Your enthusiasm and insistence is most troubling to some people in town. Oh, I can tell we're gonna get along. You wouldn't happen to be including yourself in that group, was you? Very astute. Yes, I am concerned for you, as are others. I understand how you must have struggled with your mother passing while you were so young, do you? Oh, for fuck's sake. Alright, I'm gonna lay this bitch out, that's for sure. Not taking this shit. We are painting a mural. The pursuit of such trades is not for women, but men. Imprudent to take on his work. Yeah, she's not Illuminata, that's for sure. On the contrary, your utter disregard for authority and decency shows that you could benefit from convent life. Such impetuousness is precisely why I offer you a place here. I think it would do you a great deal of good. Yeah, bye. You suck. I hate you. There were a lot of cool people in this abbey. Some, not all of them cool, but you know, there's some interesting and not annoying people here. Alright, now we gotta go to the woods. It's the only place I haven't been yet. Apollo. We're trying to collect frogs. Frogs don't come out this time of year. I read it in the tale. Frogs come out with rain. We get rain in spring. That's why... Maybe that's why I only have one. What do you need the frogs for? Like I'll tell you. The Great Frog Plague of 1543. What about it? I'm gonna be honest, I'm not terribly concerned with the frog plague right now. But they didn't let me talk to them about the key, so that's concerning. Oh yeah, that is kind of weird. I saw some rope in the workshop at home. Okay. Here's that grave, which is still there. Pretty unkept. Yeah, let's blackmail them. I mean, I can just do that myself. I have the tinker thing, so I'm just gonna rig up a rope and stuff. Why not? I see the problem there. Alright, where haven't I been? Yeah, oh boy. More objectives have popped up. Oh yeah, I haven't been to Smokey yet. Oh hey, Slav is back. What's he talking about? This one can't help but talk to This one can Oh man, I'm having trouble reading today. This one can't help but talk to people about all the strange things he believes. Sounds like their problem, not his. Do I want to know what happened? He told Father Thomas. He told him to let it go, but somehow an Inquisitor found out. Anyway, I had to leave for a while. That explains why you weren't here 7 years ago. So, books, strange ideas? The host, the Eucharist, the bread and wine, body and blood of Christ. What about it? More and more people are writing about rejecting transubstantiation. Oh. The idea that the bread and wine of Eucharist literally becomes the body and blood of Christ. Here we go. Well, there are two ways to look at it. The first is on the grounds that Wycliffe and Huss rejected it. There is nothing perceptible that changes in the character in the bread and the wine. Well, yeah. There's also a second point. Even if the bread and wine turn to Christ's body and blood, why is that necessary for spiritual communion? We are bound by flesh attempting to reunite with the light of God through the Eucharist. The act, the observance, unites our will with that of Christ. He is present in us through the remembrance, not the physical act. Are you saying we shouldn't take communion? There's nothing wrong with taking communion as a rite or act, but if you accept what I'm saying, there are other things I'd like to discuss. I'm not listening to any of this. Are you ready to hear why it's important to disbelieve in transubstantiation? I'm certain this is leading somewhere good. Can't tell if you're being sarcastic, but alright. Oh boy. It all starts with Lucifer creating the world. Jesus Christ. We'll get to him. God was the Word, and the Word was truth, and the truth is light. The light is God's will. God's light-contained aspects will be considered angels, facets of his infinite intellect. One of these aspects separated itself from his intellect and manifested into the darkness as the corrupt will of Lucifer. By what power could a portion of God's will separate from the whole? The will moved itself. God's intellect, being infinite, also contained the capacity to transcend the infinite. To exist outside of the boundaries of infinite light, the corrupt will brought into being an equally infinite darkness. All material in our world is inherently a corrupted manifestation of that false light. We still have a connection to God through our intellect, but it is flawed by existing in our physical bodies. You almost make it sound like Lucifer is more responsible for our creation than God. So Genesis is wrong? There are many stories of creation, many versions even of Genesis. Why is it you believe yours is the correct one? You believe the one your church has given you. Maybe if you were given another, you would have believed that instead. Was Jesus flawed by being a man even though he was born of a virgin? He was not born of a virgin. I'm not hearing any of this, and it would not matter if he were. Lucifer was a rebellious splinter of God's will. The Christ appeared when God willed his divine intellect into Jesus. You said that all physical bodies were called corrupt. While we are the heirs of Lucifer's rebellious intellect, Christ received wisdom from the light of God himself. He did truly die and was truly resurrected in body. But his reappearance was only important for him to convey the message of salvation to the people. Resurrection is always happening, since if we die without grace, our souls are condemned to be reborn. The physical world is the only hell we know, living again and again the only torment. You know what? Fine. Sounds about right to me. How do we escape it? Regular prayer, abstention from material desires, sublimation and elimination of want. That just sounds like being a monk. No. Priests and monks are both are corrupt agents of the business of the church. They have taken the simplicity of holy devotion and profaned it with pageantry. The saints, too. All this talk of Mortiz and Satya and miracles are just stories. The church has led people astray and put the hope of people in meaningless rituals, faith, and relics. You have some interesting ideas. Oh. Folk named the town after a pagan god, a Roman one at that. Oh? Why should anything the gods do make sense? I need more facts, not folktales. Ah, I get it. They bathed. Might be tricky to paint on the mural. You can never really destroy stories as long as there are people who tell them. The town is more Roman than Bavarian, really. Okay. Any luck? Yeah, I'm not telling you about a key. Rope. Really, does Magdalene not run? I could have sworn we were running earlier. Alright, let's see if we can get in here. Better tie a good knot. Oh god, that rope doesn't reach all the way down. How are you gonna get back up? I mean, I guess you could, if you're strong enough, you can grab and climb it. But you're gonna have to do a pretty good vertical climb there. Well, that's convenient. I'll take it. A poem. I would have chucked this shit down a mine shaft, too. Bones. Figurines? Tasia Akvamihi. That. So what? It's Latin. All right. Anyone got anything? How's your Latin, chat? Help me out here. I took 2 years of Latin, but it wasn't enough to... it was so long ago, I would not be able to read this. Wait. Were there V's in Latin? Or is it W that's missing in Latin? I can't remember which letter was missing. A Roman map of Tassing. Yeah, W is missing from Latin. Yeah, Abbey was an old fort up in the hill. What's this building? I don't recognize it. It's not in Tassing now, but something that big can't have disappeared. Which one? That's so odd. Damnata, Solaria, Aula, Descendet. With some sort of special temple. I don't recognize the word. Maybe that's the building I didn't recognize. Okay. Oh boy. All right, let's no, I wanted to put that back, please. All right, well, whatever. We'll worry about that later. So I can't rotate that. Alright, something we need to figure out is if this band is like... Is this a plate? Is it a circular plate, or is it a vase? What are we dealing with here? Once I pick it up, I have to start moving with it. That sucks. Can't I just put it to the side? And they won't let me back out of this either. Alright, here's one I do know for sure. No, that is not what I wanted. Okay. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. Yeah, it definitely looks like a plate. No, let me put it away, please. This would be easier if I didn't have to place everything on the map. Alright. There we go. That doesn't look quite right. How about this? Yeah, that's better. Okay. Maybe I should get the outer plate. Oh. Oh, that just fell into place, didn't it? Oh, yeah, how about that? Okay, this is starting to look correct. Got it. Wild hunt? Yeah, there's some kind of sacrifice going on here. This is part of our history, but I'm not sure this is the best story to portray. I'll have to think about it. Okay. Oh! Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. I would die down there. Oh. It would appear that I have forgotten to start the recording. I'm gonna have to download the VOD from... Ugh. What a hassle. Just gonna have to download the VOD from Twitch and do it from there. Alright, yeah. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, thank you for waiting, folks. Sorry for the extended break. Got caught in a conversation. Hey, thank you everyone for watching today. As always, if you're not already watching me, following me, the voice of dog, feel free to do that because it helps me out and I appreciate it. Somebody is watching us, clearly. Ah! Yes. The Lord's gamekeeper. Okay. Why are you grazing pigs in the wood? Alright, well, first off, you're making several assumptions here that are completely incorrect. Do I look like I raise pigs? All of these are like... Watching you? No. I don't know what you're talking about. Do I look like I raise pigs? I don't care for your tone, man. Oh my god. This fucking asshole. That's not my pig. I've been walking around this forest for hours. Other than the coal burner and the tinker, you're the only other person I've seen. What are you doing here? Does everyone have to justify being in these woods? If I think you're stealing the Lord's wood or illegally grazing your pigs, yes. Whose pig is this? I don't know. Ah, mysterious lost pig. Who apparently belongs to no one. I suppose so. Whoa! No, I don't. Hey, I got into the mine without your help. Yeah, that's a waste of an entire pig. That's a big deal for a peasant family. You can't just do that. Alright, there's only one place I can go right now. Oh. Hi. Thank you for helping me look after the house. No? Nothing to do here? What did they want me to do? They want me to go back to talk to Klaus? Oh, nice sun there. Yeah, that's my house. No, that's the Drucker house. This is the Kreutzer house. Oh, next to the Commons. You think that little of me? Want to let us join the council? You have to take that up with the Lord. Maybe I should put him down. How am I supposed to gain experience if I'm not involved in making decisions? Even Paul has warned me about being too rash. My dad died trying to make a difference in this town. Just stuck in the past, but we're looking towards the future. Your grandfather read about the history of the town. Old pot shards and Latin trivia were all he ever talked about. Do you have any of his old books? Evidence? Something like that. See, we don't have any books on the old pagans, but we do have their stuff. Uh-huh. Where do you... How do you think these people live? Rough, I'd say, but comfortable. We're living in huts. Their tools are good quality. If they weren't rusted all to hell, I could probably use them today. They weren't animals either. They had it hard, but they got by. They made the road come through Tassin. That'll be great. Ava. I wasn't looking for him. Are you sure? I think he wandered off towards the rat house. Doesn't he do any real work? Oh, yes. Don't you ever miss Otto? Every day. Whoever he marries will be a lucky woman. For Christ's sake, Otts. What? How many times do I have to tell you? Anyway, Magdalene, how's the mural going? Neither do you. Get fucked. What about, like, archaeological evidence, though? That seems like a good... Has the strongest connection to our farmers. This isn't a controversial thing, but the controversy is going to come later, I think. You're welcome. I should decide how to paint Kearsaw's history. Matthew Faucigny socks. The old book. It was the Baron's before Martin stole it. I can't make much out of it. The Latin is much harder than I'm used to. The book isn't in great shape either since it's been sitting in a farmer's house for so long. Here's a section about the various dedications erected in the town. That might be easier to read. Erigo simulacrum in agra Mars nostrum operum conspiritat. None of this makes any sense. No, we're not going to be asking Father Thomas for anything. I don't even know where to begin. It's only a matter of time. It's hard to argue with Dad's condition. I found a note by him. All it said was, stop. The script was written in the most elaborate hand I've ever seen. I can't wait to leave. This flirting is annoying. I don't know how long I'll have. No, we're going to sleep. November 20th. Reverend Matthew. Oh, of course you're there. I was not acquainted with your family during my years at Curacao. Even so, I remember your father was one of the townsfolk who prevented the peasantry from burning us alive. I am not overly inclined to assist the people of Tassing in their endeavors to catalog the origins of the abbey they destroyed. Even so, it was a long time ago, in the interest of posterity and the Christian charity. I will tell you what I recall. After the Romans left, Christians settled in the region and built Kearsarge Abbey on the ruins of a fortress. Abbey was founded by a noblewoman of the Kearsarge family. Kearsarge changed to being run by an abbot. Many other double monasteries did likewise around the same time. Double monasteries were frowned upon by the Pope. Your neighbors put any other records about the abbey to the torch. Thus burn the history of Kearsarge. Assuming they have not co-signed the contents of Kearsarge's former occupants to a bonfire, you may find something there. It is hard to be overjoyed at the news of your neighbor's late regrets. Many of the injuries inflicted 18 years ago will never heal. Regret cannot undo what has been done, but we can all find redemption through Christ. Yeah, whatever, man. You weren't the only victim there. And you weren't killed, so I don't know what you're complaining about. And you didn't even get exposed. You came out clean. So... Winter comes swiftly. Huguenots and Lutherans plague my homeland. Thank the Lord you still live in a land ruled by the one true church. Yeah, nah. Not too helpful, Matthew. No, we are further away than is easy to travel, but I can see what we can do. The night I was born, he remembers great strife in town. Werner was supposed to come by and check on Dad today. Which one's Werner? Oh, Stoltz. Yeah. At least he showed up and his patients felt better. What happened to Werner? Pretty sure he still hates everyone. The miller's wife has a long family history in Tassing. Okay. Can't be that dangerous. Sunday frogs. What are we at? 2:30? God, I feel like I got nothing done this stream. I did research for the mural, that's about it. Nothing about this murder. Or the previous murders. But we're getting there. Next time. History? Got plenty of things to do next time. Yeah, where the hell is Werner? Thank you for watching today, folks. Once more, be sure to follow if you're not already doing so. I do appreciate it. It helps me out. We'll see you next time. Let's find someone to host over to. Oh, that was a host command. That didn't work. That didn't do anything. Host is not going to do anything. There we go. See you next time, folks.